the thing is that what I learned from Joseph Michelli is this, is that the number one secret of building a brand is the experience. Write that down. The number one reason, or the number one secret of building a brand is the experience. So I have a question for you today. What is the experience that your prospects and customers, not just your customers, but how many of you know that experience starts when they connect with you on Facebook, right? David Fry was in this room last night. He said 80% of the conversations that are happening in the world today are happening on Facebook. Now that's kind of crazy, right? Here's what I know. What I know is that a virtual community is an oxymoron. How many of you, when you meet somebody on Facebook that you really like, you can't wait to meet them in person? Is that true? You bet. You want to meet them in person because a true community is face-to-face, and that's why we do events. That's why we don't do just, virtual events. Do you want to know the number one secret of building a phenomenal team? Here it is. Oh, by the way, Joseph Michelli said this. He said, a brand is nothing more than what people say about you when you're not around. What are people saying on Facebook about you? What are they saying about your company? That's your brand, and it's that simple, right? So the number one secret of building a phenomenal team is the experience. What kind of experience do the people who work with you have? Do you smile at them all the time? Do you make that? Do you have a good time? Are you adding value to them? Are you helping them reach their goals? One of my primary concerns is that Santiago reaches his goals, that he reaches his goals and dreams in life, that my whole team is developed and they reach their personal and professional goals. It's the experience that you provide. You may not have employees, but how about this? How do your vendors like to do business with you? What unique experience are you providing? And guess what happens when you do that with your vendors? Guess what happens? You get first in line. Is that true? So I'm going to walk you through this morning 9 steps to creating this, to marketing it, and delivering it, because I want you to know these steps. It's not always about learning something new. In fact, it's more about doing the things that you already know how to do. Can we say it FTI together? Yes? Failure to implement? Right. Experiences. I saw this ad in a magazine the other day, so I decided to take a picture of it and use it in my presentations because it says, I love this quote, it says, experiences are the most valuable currency. Experiences are the most valuable currency. What do you do for somebody who already has plenty of money? What do people who have plenty of money do? They have experiences. Bruce and Joanna, I get to spend a lot of time with them. They're such phenomenal friends of mine, and we just go have all kinds of great experiences, right? David Fry was here last night, and I have to tell you something. Now, we kind of did an interview style. It's a little bit different than what he normally does. I probably maybe should have had him do a full presentation because the guy just absolutely throws down. He's so passionate, right? But we did this interview style, and it was nice, and we got some good stuff out of it. But the reason that I didn't make him do a presentation or ask him to do it is because it took me a year just to get lunch with the guy, right? So, hey, man, it's time for us to have lunch because we have lunch every, couple times a year or whatever, and he's busy on projects, and I'm traveling, never can get together with him. And a friend of mine, Kyle Wilson, sends me an email, and he says, hey, Howard, he says, I got some tickets to the Final Four. I know that you're in Houston, and I had to pay for them, but I thought, man, this thing's probably sold out, and who can I take, who's in Houston, who probably has the time off, right, that could go last minute, right? So I've been texting David for lunch for like a year. Can't get together for lunch. Like, hey, man, I got tickets to the Final Four. Would you like to go? Heck yeah! Right? So we go to the Final Four, and there were 2 games on like Saturday, and then the final is going to be on Monday, right? So we're sitting up here in nosebleed seats, and I'm sitting here thinking, I didn't tell Dave this, but I'm sitting there thinking, I paid $700 for these seats, and I can't even see the players down there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I get online the next day, and I find seats that are in a very similar place for $50 a piece, you know? Now, Kyle, it actually wasn't Kyle that had the tickets. It was a friend of Kyle's, right? And I was like, and there's all these empty seats. I was like, this is interesting. So, experience for your staff. I email my leadership staff, who wants to go to the Final Four. So a couple of my leaders went, Aliki and Johan, went to the game with us. They sat in a different section. But I'm sitting there with David Fry. Dave doesn't know how much the tickets are, right? And so Dave is always wanting to give back. So he gives me this domain the next day. He said, hey, I think you need this domain. He downloads like multi-million-dollar marketing strategies on me while we're sitting there, okay? Experiences are the most valuable commodity. The man doesn't need money. He doesn't need information. But, hey, man, let's go have a phenomenal experience together, right? Now, here's the best part of the story. At halftime, the guy that sold me the tickets, now he probably paid that much for the tickets. I don't doubt that at all, right? He sends me a text, and he says, hey, there's some VIP seats right behind us if you guys want to come down. On the 30th row, mid-court. I said, okay, now it's getting good, right? So he said, come down here and meet me at section 107. I come down there to section 107. And when I walk up, Scottie Pippen walks up. You know, the former Chicago Bulls, right? I mean, this guy is like, way up there, right? And everybody's taking pictures, and I get in behind Scottie Pippen. I'm trying to take a selfie with him. Everybody's like, Scottie, Scottie, Scottie. Dave's laughing. He's like, man, look at Howard, like a little kid, you know, Scottie, 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 you know. And anyway, so I got a kind of a selfie with Scottie Pippen. You can see that on my Facebook page. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and this game comes down to the wire. Did anybody see that game, by the way? And so what started out as nosebleeds. Dave didn't even want to go down there. He said, man, he's not going to get us in the VIP section. We're not going to get in. I said, let's go try that. So we walked through the whole arena, Reliant, right? I mean, the whole thing. It's about 2 miles to get down there, right? So we get down there, the Scottie Pippen thing happens, and then the game starts getting really, really good. Historic ending. Did you see it? Yeah. So it was tied up, right? Villanova and North Carolina, right? Tied up. They tied it with like 4 seconds left. There is no way to put this ball in play and get it in there. But sure enough, Villanova, as the lights go out, the three-pointer goes in, and they win the game, and the place just went nuts, right? And David Fry's is like, that was like an experience of a lifetime. So that's why he was here last night. That's why we're doing a referral mastery seminar in Destin in June. You cannot pay that man. He will not take money for it. You cannot pay him to go teach. He does not do it. He will not do it. What kind of experiences are you creating? What kind of experiences are you creating for your referral sources? What kind of experiences are you creating for your vendors? What kind of experiences are you creating for your people? How many of you were here when I sent Michelle to Hawaii? An experience of a lifetime. See, I want to make a lot of money so that I can create a whole bunch of experiences for a lot of people. Does that make sense? I mean, that's a phenomenal life, right? When you can make a difference in the lives of other people. So the number one secret of a brand is the experience. The more unique it is, the more personal it is, the more exciting it is, the better. The number one secret of building a team is the experience. What kind of experience do they have working with you? Are you helping them reach their goals? So we have 3 E's of experience, and I bet Bruce DeLoach could tell us what they are, but he's got to tell them in order. That's kind of an inside joke. So Bruce and I argue about which one should be first. So I'm going to give you my version. How about this? Okay, so the first one is engage. Engage. The 3 E's of experience. Number 1, engage. It's all about engagement. That's where it starts. Second is education. What happens when you educate people? What does that do for you? What does that do for your company when your company educates the community? Talk to me. You become the expert, right? You become the consultant, right? So then what happens? Does that raise your value? Does that raise your value? Can you command higher prices when you're the expert, when you're the consultant? Yes. Here's the other thing that it does. The third E is entertain. The third E is entertain. Engage, educate, and entertain. So we're going to take a look at what that really looks like, all right? So first, engage. Social media is, it's where it's at today. You got to have a strong social media presence, and one of the things that we need to do in the inner circle. By the way, how many of you noticed that we changed the name of this from the Round Table to the Inner Circle Conference? How many of you noticed that? Right? And here's the reason. The reason is that Inner Circle members, of course, come to the conferences at no charge, and we have got to every single conference develop our Inner Circle members to the next level. Now let me ask you this question. How many of you, first of all, how many of you are in the Inner Circle? Let me see your hands. Okay? All right. Second question. How many of you have totally benefited from being involved with us? Let me see your hands. Okay, how many of you have grown your business? How many of you have solved a lot of problems, right? And when Santiago and I were in Tennessee last week, there's a gentleman who owns a restaurant, and he's only been in the Inner Circle 5 months. Now, the last time we were in Tennessee, I saw him, I didn't know him, and hey, how's it going, and whatever. I don't, Rick and Santi work with the folks, and we've got so many people now, I don't know everybody personally. So, we didn't have a lot of time to chat, whatever. So come back a month later, here he is again. And he said, man, the last 5 weeks, or the last 5 months in the Inner Circle has just totally changed my life. So what we're really about here, the reason it's called the Inner Circle Conference is because our mission is to create the most phenomenal community experience ever right here in this room.